We seek Jannat al-Firdaus bighayri hisab, without having to take account on the day of judgment, without having to answer for yourself. My father has told everybody he ever met that what he seeks is Jannat al-Firdaus bighayri hisab. My name is Salim, son of Shamshad, from the family of Siddiq, and my father is no longer with me. I have inherited from my father the guarantee that he was given, that he came here and left this dunya with this same guarantee. And I am giving all of you this same guarantee today. Jannat al-Firdaus bighayri hisab. If you have asked for it in your life, if you have ever wanted it, if it has been something that you have sought, if it is something that you have remembered, today I am giving you that guarantee for all those who hear the story and who are listening with their heart. Jannat al-Firdaus bighayri hisab. He says to me, "Oh my son, you've taken over everything. It's time for me to take a trip." My father hasn't taken a trip. I mean, he hasn't gone on a long journey. He's traveled around the States. He's traveled around little vacation spots. But he hasn't taken a real trip. The last time he took a real trip with me was, to the house of Allah itself. Taken a real trip in ages. He's at an older age. And all of us in our family, we're a little bit worried. We've been feeling the moment coming, Daddy's going to say at any moment, he wants to go to India. He's going to want to go back home. Everybody in our family's been afraid, because when the moment comes, no one wants that to happen. My dad's old. We're afraid. We don't want to see the situation. My mom's old. She knows she doesn't want to go to India again. She'll be sick. So there's not even an issue of talking about her going. And even my father going, everybody's scared of even talking about the subject because of his health. But he says, my son, you've taken care of everything. Everything's taken care of. Now it's the time I'm free. Now's the time before I get too old that I should go see my eldest brother. My dad's eldest brother was still alive. His mother and father had both passed away. Before I get too old, I should go see my older brother. Now, the idea of my mom going was crazy. She's too old. She's going to get sick for sure if she goes to India. My dad can't take my mother. The reason why my dad's free to go is because I've taken over all the business and all the responsibilities of home, so I can't go with him. And my dad hasn't gone on a trip by himself for 16 years. 20 years maybe. I mean, the last trip my dad made, Shamshad, Ali Siddiqui, the last trip he made was by himself, was to Iran at the beginning of the revolution, when Ayahtollah Khomeini invited him there to witness by his own eyes what was going on. Oh, brothers and sisters, wake up. Oh, Ahlul Bayt, somebody has forgotten. Somebody has not remembered. My name is Salim, son of Shamshad. Somebody from the families of Ahlul Bayt has forgotten what you were looking for, brothers and sisters. My father went to Iran right in the beginning of the revolution, and he hasn't taken a trip since then. So he decides he's going to go take that trip. He's going to go to India. And of course, we all think, if you go to India, you're going to get sick. We don't say it. But that isn't the worst thing that we have in the back of our mind, brothers and sisters. You see, I told you, going back to pagan India is something that most of us realize has deeper implications. Because when you go back home, you're always exposed negatively to the supernatural. And things begin to happen and change. And just as I'm talking, and you feel it as soon as I start, you can feel that vibrational change every time I talk about it. Your senses get heightened, and all of us in the family are worried. Oh no, please. Allah have mercy, not that. We've been fearing it for so long, but no one says anything. All right, Daddy, for sure, go. He goes to Saudi Arabia first, goes visits the Holy House, does the tawaf, and then he goes to India, and he's there and everything's normal, and I'm at home. The days pass, the times go by. My wife's got the newborn, Hamza. My mother doesn't want to go to India. And my uncle comes walking down the street with the news. Your father's had a heart attack. He's in India. Did he die? No. He's alive. What happened? We don't know. Plans start within a few days. Passports, visas, applications. Off we go, me and my mother. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in Lucknow in a strange village on the bed, looking at my father, dying right in front of me. And I realize, what in the world is going on? I haven't prepared for this. I wasn't prepared for this. What am I supposed to do? This whole time I've been thinking, I'm going to get time to spend time with my father now, come home, be able to sit, listen to the old man talk, hear him tell me stories, have my children spend time around my father, have my children grow up with the old man, have that. And there I am, sitting on the bed with my father dying, and my mother there in India, and I don't think he's going to make it. The hospital situation is crap. So what do? What can I do? My father's barely able to speak, barely able to breathe. Flash forward an hour later, brothers and sisters, my mother's crying. My father's crying. My cousin, she doesn't even understand English, but she's crying. And I'm crying. Sitting on the bed with my father, who's dying in front of my eyes. I realize he can barely talk. He can barely say anything. And all of us are crying like crazy. And none of us are sad at all over his situation. What's happened is I realized about an hour ago that my father's not going to be able to say anything, and I'm sitting there on the bed, silent, with absolutely nothing to do. This is the most awkward position I have ever been in. I've been flying for hours and been preparing to get here. And finally, my mother and me reach the bed of my father, and she's sitting there and I'm there, and he's dying and he's breathing, and you know what? There's nothing to do. All you can do is sit and wait. He's not dead. He's alive. Right? He's not dead. He's alive. Oh, my brothers and sisters. Was this what I was prepared for? Of all things to have to deal with. Oh, my brothers and sisters who know the story and who are now waking up. Dealing with the death of a close one. Dealing with the loss of a loved one. The Kobayashi Maru? I wasn't prepared for this. What was I supposed to do? Now my father, who I was expecting would be the one who I'd get to have his wisdom, that I'd get to share the knowledge of my father. Now I finished learning and going out and studying. Now my father's sitting there, and my father can barely even breathe, let alone speak. And he's not dead, he's alive. And I am sitting there, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. And a crazy thought comes over me for the first time ever. I guess I better just tell them a story or something, because this is just ridiculous. Like I said, my mother's crying, my father's crying, I'm crying. My cousin doesn't even understand English, and she's crying because I've gone in. And I'm talking about Amr ibn al-As, who conquers Egypt. I'm talking about Khalid bin Walid, the warrior, who defeats the Muslims in Badr, who is the strongest, most courageous fighter of our people. And I'm telling the story of how these two people, who were the most violent against Islam, learn to find Islam. And I'm telling my mother and father this story, and I realize that they're just loving it. And everybody is bawling, myself included. And I realize for the first time, there's nothing that you can do except for try and get everybody to remember. But I don't have a clue what's going on in the world. They push us towards violence, and more violence, and more violence. Is violence what we're seeking? Are you supposed to violently lash out? Have you been called to bring death to others, my brothers and sisters? Oh, the term jihad, my brothers and sisters. Has someone given you orders to take the life of another? Those orders were not from Allah. Let's take a break. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.